I didn't see you there. How's it going? Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about the new Octarius map that we all have access to. And I say that we all have access to, when what I mean is those of us that have been around for the last 5 years have access to it, obviously. Because we already have the set, because it released as the Kill Team Octarius. And this is called Killzone Octarius. Presumably everybody else will have access to it soon, as in June is when we would guess based on when Kill Team 11th edition is going to come out. However, for those of you currently with access to it, which I imagine is a lot more than you might imagine, because the number of stories I've heard about people that have like, oh my god, a new edition, but I haven't even unboxed Octarius yet, I imagine is quite a few if comments are to be believed. So I want to talk about a few of the issues and a few of the things to keep in mind. And most of this is going to be movement, to be clear. But there are a few questions on how should we play this. There's a clear rule. There's a very clear rule, to be clear. But should we follow that is always a good question. I'm sure some of the missing rules will be cleared up very soon. But let's discuss them now because, hey, it's a new Killzone. That's really exciting. I have set out map 1, but you can set out whichever map you might be interested in, of course. But I'm not talking about specifically this map, although I will discuss jumps, just so that you're aware how they work. Because, you know, in general, jumping isn't particularly effective on Volcus. You can do it very few times. But on this one, there might be a few more times. Let's just say that, shall we? Okay, let's dive into it, shall we? Oh, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6 points to discuss. The first thing to point out, which is very obvious because it's just right there in the rules, is this thing here. The oil pump is a pickle. In the whole of the last edition, it was never particularly fun to play with because you have these two big barrels here that are actually really frustrating to work with. However, due to how obscurity works now, it's less frustrating because there is not an inch there. So if you're right up in there, you can't draw a line of sight through it. That's nice and simple, actually. It's good to know. You are not obscured, engaged, whatever. However, once you go loud and you're engaged, you then have to ask yourself, how the hell does that work? And basically, if you're here, right in there, it's over an inch before you can draw a line of sight out of it. So whatever you're shooting at will be obscured and whatever is shooting at you will be obscured. So that's fine, unless you are a model that can remove obscurity. So if you're, you know, many snipers have this ability, you can just remove obscurity. So if you want to plant yourself there and shoot, you can do that. However, don't forget, the very first thing you do is you check visibility. Can you see anything? Because these dwarfs definitely can't. What about a 40mm based Angels of Death sniper? 40mm can't even fit in there, so it doesn't matter. There you go. But of course there are other snipers that can remove obscurity on themselves, blah, blah, blah. There you go. That's something to keep in mind. This has always been a bit of an issue, the oil pump terrain. However, saying that this bit here is just not there, I think was a good decision. You could just imagine it's not there, which somebody did point out. If you look at the map layouts, then on one of the things it says that any time you place an objective under a piece of vantage terrain, then it goes in a white line outlined objective. And there's one there underneath this, and it's like, oh, well, it's under something. Why isn't it white outlined? It's like, because that's not a piece of vantage. Easy, easy. Even I could figure that one out. Anyway, before we get further into this, I would like to give a subscriber-only benefit. And that subscriber-only benefit today does not have a sound because I'm doing a weird technical test with a new mic and a new camera. And that is a big double hello. Wow, so wholesome. Truly the wholesome knows no bounds in the world of Glass Half Dead. Hello everybody, thank you for watching. Hey, do you like any of the accoutrements I have laid out? That's awesome. Check my affiliate links. With Crossfire Games and GG Easy, you get 10% off. With all of my other stuff like Element, Wayland, etc., your local game stores, I just get a kickback. It'd be sweet AF, as foretold, if you could use my affiliate links. Thank you so much. If not mine, use somebody's. We all have them. Also, I have a Patreon. I very rarely mention this, but like, I'm there. I do more Kill Team videos, well, generic videos. It's much more just I have a rant for an hour once a week, but consider it, you know. Cool, all right, thank you. Anyway, with that done, let's discuss. So, we have, I think the biggest issue here, let's talk about the raw. Let's talk about the things that raw don't work. The oil pump, technically, does not have the heavy keyword. Obviously, every part of the pump should be heavy. I don't think that needs much explanation. Cool. Can we just move on from that now? Very clearly, every single part of this is heavy, apart from that which is, whatever they said, I want to say indiscriminate, that's the wrong word, but isn't there, and also the pump, which also isn't there. Cool. That's very simple to see they missed the final keyword, which is all of this pump is heavy. Nice. Another thing, doors. Now the doors, there are 4 doors on all of these big pieces. Excellent, love to see it. The doors are, what's the word? Accessible. Good. And then all of this is light terrain. That's good. However, the door fight action is not a generic action. The door fight action has to be included in the kill zone. Now, the fact that it is already in Octarius, not Octarius, it is already in Volcus and is already in Tomb World and Gallowdark, it's not a generic action. It clearly should be, and I think it's safe to assume that you are supposed to be able to door fight on Octarius. Because, in case you're not aware, the door fight action is there purely as a way to stop shenanigans. It's not a thing that is like a carefully tuned balance that can only exist on certain maps, not at all. It is there to stop people from abusing movement, and it would be abusing, to be clear, it would be full-blown abusing, cheesing movement, and that's why they include door fight. Nice. Cool, cool, cool. So I think those are 2 easy things. Technically, they're missing from the current map pack. Yes, they will definitely be added. Just an oversight. Cool, that's easy. We then have light barricades. Do you want to do that? Oh no, let's quickly. Further to this, just to point out, because it hasn't happened before, really, but keep in mind that all of these upper ramparts on these L-shaped ruin pieces are heavy as well. There's an implication within the core rulebook on how Volcus is worded, blah, 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 because we have our large ruins on Volcus, and many people think that might be the standard, where these uppers are light terrain for Volcus. But here, it's very clearly worded they are heavy terrain. Now, will that be changed? And that was an oversight? I don't think so, but you never know. This is only going to affect the very few teams out there with access to Seek Light, but it is going to be a big thing for, again, AOD, because the AOD sniper will love this map. This is like, will love this kill zone. And so I think that actually just for that model, you really do need these to be heavy. So I think that tracks, that makes sense. Cool. Jumps. Do we want to do jumps? Oil rig? Door fight? Do we want to do jumps or light barricades? Let's do the light barricades quickly. So, light barricades, okay? There are 3 of them. You've got the small one, which is completely under 2, and then you've got the medium, and you've got the large. Now, there are pieces on these which are over 2 inches tall. When you have something over 2 inches, it then costs that extra 1/3 inch to move over. That is just something you should be aware of. So on this, obviously, all of here, you can move along it, move over it, sorry, 2 inches. But that becomes 3 inches when you want to climb it. Fine. This, a little bit more complicated, because you actually then only have this bit here, which can be climbed for 2. Everything else, 3 inches. Just something to keep in mind, because, you know, you're thinking, oh, well, it's a light barricade. It's fine. Well, actually, that's a 3-inch climb, which is massive. A 3-inch climb is ridiculous. You don't want to be doing that. If you're deploying there thinking, oh, I've got all my guys back there and it's a 2-inch move, it's a 3. And that, you know, I've always said, Kill Team is a game where 1 inch matters. I've literally never said that before, to be clear. But on this map, it really does. And we're about to talk about the slightly more iffy thing. To be clear, raw, there's no question that that heavy piece of, that long piece of light barricade costs you 3 inches to go over. There's no question raw. I think for balance, it should probably be 2. I don't think they're going to change that. I think it's going to remain 3 because raw, that's what it is. And at the moment, Kill Team likes to play things raw. It doesn't like to say, hey, anything under 3 should be a 2-inch climb. That's what the rule should be. They've worded it, everything over 1 inch is 2 until it's 3. But genuinely, I think it should be everything under 3 is a 2 climb and anything 3 or more is a 3 climb. That is what the climbing rule should be, to be clear. That is how Kill Team movement is balanced. But raw, that's not what it is. Anyway, so that's the thing. We then have to discuss the rubble piles. So we have 2 rubble piles. We have 3 rubble piles. The small one doesn't matter. That's very clear. You pay your 2, you climb. Excellent. Good. You love to see it. We then have the medium and the large rubble pile. And that's where we have a slight issue, everybody. So I'm going to tell you how you should move a model now. What I'm about to show you should just be a short that I do for rules so that you know. But let me tell you how you move something. Okay, let me figure this out so that I'm not showing you the wrong thing. Cool, cool, cool. Oh dear. Right, if I set up a model, no, we'll do jumping quickly, very quickly on jumps. No, we have to do this first. Okay, let me show you this. Okay, we see me here, yeah? Let's get a model here. Nice. Can this model get to the other side of this large piece of terrain? Good question. How do you measure this? You take his movement, which is 6 inches. And this is how most people move, okay? You put your 6 there, in line with the front of his base, right? Cool. And you then know, well, I can move 6, but it's -2 to climb, so I can move 4. Okay? Simple. You can't get it wrong. I can clearly get to there. Nice. Well, hold on. You've just moved further than that 4. Okay, well, let's try it again, right? So how do you actually measure this? So you do this. So you have your 6. You know it's 2, so you -2. There you go. So you got the 2 in line with that. Right. Now, you see your 6 is kind of there, and you're like, well, it looks like I can probably fit a base there. Can you, mate? Can you really? No. You measure from the back of the base. You take your 2, you move to the back. Okay, it's now in line with the back, and then you move, where does that 6 end? It ends there. So when you move it, the back of the base would end there. That cannot be placed. That's not a legal place. Okay? Simple. Or is that a legal place? I'll tell you what, competitive players would say that is. They're like, oh, well, it sets the fence. Fucking. Right, let's try it again. 32 more base here. Here we go. That's your 6. -2 for the move. Okay? From the back of the base. There. Where does that 6 end? It actually ends just there. Is that a legal placement? I would argue it isn't. I think if your base, because otherwise, it's like, there you go. I've placed my model. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that as a placement? Is that fun? Is that a fun game to play? No. If you can't place him flat, I don't think you should be placing him. Now, on that particular move, you can end up just there. I think you'll be okay. However, just to keep it, you know, correct or whatever, if you are there or there, there's pretty much no question you can't actually make it to the other side. And that's on a 6-inch model. So if he was only 5, you'd be there, well, sorry, that's your, let's swap to a 5. There you go. You'd be a 5, that's your front of the base, you lose 2, so you've got a 3, you measure from the back of the base, boom, you're ending there. Even I would say you can't finish there. Cool. That's how you should actually be moving in Kill Team. Very often, like the same thing can be said about moving around corners, right? Like, can your model move out from here? Good question. Let's find a 6 again, blimey. Right, the first thing you have to figure out is how many inches does it take to get to there and then go forwards? Well, me being me, right, you measure from the front of the base, it's like, oh, 1, 2, 3, and then 3's past there, so easy. But if you actually make that move, your 3 is there, you're still behind that. You haven't cleared it. So when you're trying to be correct about these sorts of things, when you're moving out, you measure from the back of the base. And once the back of your base has passed this, 1, 2, 3, lovely, that's because I moved it, then you can move forwards. But if you're measuring from the front of the base, you give yourself a bunch of wiggle room. You're like, oh yeah, you know, kind of there-ish. Yeah, it's fine. But that's just something to keep in mind for funsies, right? But we can take that forwards into other things. So let's talk about jumping. So obviously we have all new jumping things here. So if we want to jump from here to here, can we do it? If we want to jump from here to here, can we do it? Now obviously these distances are different on all different maps, but very quickly, if you're right in that corner and you want to jump to there, can you do it? So you're a 6 move, right? But you can only jump 4. So the 6 doesn't matter, does it? No, no, no. So you also have to lose 2 to go over this. So you're -2, and then you jump 4. So you definitely can't. That's an easy one. That's an easy one, because the 4 doesn't even get there. Nice. But can you jump from here to here? So if this is your closest point, but you're losing 2, and then you're a 4 jump. Where did that 4 get you? About there? About there? Cool, but that's the front of your base. So what if you measure from the back of your base? The back of your base doesn't quite get on there, but I sit, I fits. You can balance it, you can make that jump. And likewise, if you're here, you then don't have to pay the 2-inch climb cost for this rampart, but a jump is still only a 4. So your 4 from the front of the base is there, and I'd say there's no way you can balance on that. There you go. Just a few things to keep in mind, that's all I'm saying. Put you back up there, lovely. Right, good. Is there anything else to discuss with it? Let me check my notes. I think that's it. I think that's it. Light barricades that are over 2, rubble piles that can't be moved over, upper ramparts are heavy, jumps of 4 inches, don't forget, oil rig is probably heavy, technically there's no door fight. There you go. That's everything about the new Octarius set. First things first, can you tell how much I like using my measurement sticks? I say it in many videos, but these are must-buys. Measurement sticks and a token caddy are genuinely must-buys, in my opinion, for the game of Kill Team. Everything else very, up to you. Up to you. But you need some form of token caddy, and I genuinely only ever use my measurement sticks to measure things. Done. With that said, before we end it, I'm thinking of doing one of my battle reports for Glass Half Dead. In case you don't know, those are done in the style of Warpfire Minis, who does Age of Sigmar battle reports. I've done a few on Glass Half Dead before. It's where I play a game and then I come to the table having taken copious notes and play it out as like just a here's what happened kind of thing. but you have to call it a battle report, otherwise nobody would ever click on it. But they're quite fun, and they're actually genuinely my preferred style of watching a battle report. What teams do you think I should have on the board when I play that? That's my question. Let me know. Consider your comment today a vote. What 2 teams do you want to see play on Octarius? Presumably later this week. It depends how busy I am. There you go. Okay, hopefully this has been helpful for you. Hopefully you've had lots of good hints and tips about how to play on Octarius. And yeah, good. I now can't end the stream, but I hope that's been fun for you. I'm just reconnecting to my camera so that I can end this video. So I'm kind of done, but I hope it's been fun for you. It's been fun for me. Okay, I'm done, thank God. Did I miss anything is the other question. I don't think I did, because everything else about Octarius you already know. You already know how towing in works. You already know how many weird things there are to mess around with the oil pump. But it's not because of the oil pump, it's just that's how the game works. There's plenty of places here you can get within 2 and shoot, so don't consider the oil pump to be a safe piece of terrain at all, because it's normally in the middle of the map, and it's going to screw you if you think you're safe there, because it's very easy to get within 2 of it. That's it. Yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.